I recently picked up this copy of Scientific American Mind, and the reason I was drawn to it was because of this headline about how kids who are sensitive may actually have an advantage over kids who are resilient. Well, that really surprised me, so I had to pick it up and read it. And I found the research fascinating. What they discovered was that kids who are resilient are like we'd expect. They're hardy. They can handle change and challenge, and if they fail, they can pick themselves up and brush themselves off and try again. The more sensitive kids were more sensitive, but they were also more sensitive to interventions, meaning that they were sensitive to the effects of good parenting. They were sensitive to the effects of good teaching. If they had good parents and good teachers, these kids were not just going to do all right, they were going to do great. On the flip side, if they had poor parenting or poor teaching and no mentors in the community, these kids weren't going to fare as well. In fact, when they looked at classrooms, they found that the highest achievers were the kids who were sensitive and had great interventions. That middle swath of a classroom was the resilient kids. And the lowest performers were the kids who were sensitive but didn't have great interventions. So if you're a parent, what does this mean for you? Well, if you've got a sensitive kid at home, do two things. First, make sure you are providing a supportive environment for a sensitive kid. Know what your sensitive kid needs and plug in with them. That's what's called great parenting intervention. Make sure they have great and supportive teachers. That's that teaching intervention. Or coaches in the community, mentors. That's what you can provide. Provide a good, embracing environment for your sensitive kid. The other thing you can do is not try to turn your sensitive kid into a resilient kid. It won't work, first of all. And then it will make the sensitive kid feel like something's wrong with them. You may be a resilient person and you may think that it would be best if your kid would toughen up. Or maybe your kid has a resilient brother or sister and you're comparing your two kids side by side and thinking, man, I wish my sensitive kid could be more resilient. But you can't make that happen. So stop making that comparison and let your sensitive kid be sensitive, because there are some real benefits. Those kids with supportive parenting can really shine. What can you do? How do you apply this to adults? Well, if you're a leader or a manager, you can apply some of these same skills. If you're leading a team and there are sensitive people on it, create a supportive environment for them. You may actually have to pay less attention to your resilient employees. They're going to be okay. Just let them do their thing. They'll learn from their mistakes. They'll brush themselves off and they'll be just fine. But create an environment that is okay for your sensitive employees. Support them. Allow them to be sensitive, because they're going to be more sensitive to your interventions as a manager. They're going to listen to the things you say and do. They're going to take advantage of the opportunities you provide. And you might find that, like in the classroom, your most sensitive employees with some good interventions end up being your highest performers if you just allow them to be their sensitive selves and give them some good intervention. So maybe being resilient isn't the only way to succeed. You can be a sensitive soul, but if you're surrounded by the right people and a great environment, you're going to come out on top too.